Hey everybody, hello and welcome to this Facebook Live. If you're not watching it live, that's cool. You can watch it anytime. That is the miracle of the internet, right? You guys can watch things at your leisure whenever you feel like it. So why am I doing this today? Why am I doing a Facebook Live? Why am I doing another video? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Well, number one, let's get this out of the way first. If you haven't been listening to the show, yeah, it's just coffee today. It's not booze or anything like that. Just coffee. If you haven't been listening to the show, we now have a Blackout Coffee affiliate program. And if you go to, listen up, studentofthegun.com/blackout, studentofthegun.com/blackout, you can save 20% off of your order. Yeah, you're welcome. Or if you go to the website from somewhere else and you use the promo code STUDT20, STUDT, like student, only smushed together, right? STUDT20, then you get 20% off your order. You guys know that you're going to be drinking coffee. You know that you're going to be buying coffee. You might as well, if you're going to be drinking coffee and buying coffee and buying coffee and drinking coffee, you might as well buy it from Blackout Coffee, who actually are pro 2A Second Amendment supporters, and that'll help support Student of the Gun and help to continue to keep us on the air, which is a good thing, right? So there you go. Super easy. Got that out of the way. This is actually a coffee mug that I got from the Whittington Center, the NRA Whittington Center. That's right, in New Mexico. All right. You saw the title, Guns of the Cold War. Yes, indeed. I've been working on this new book. Oh, that light just went out, so it screwed up my lighting. But I've been working on this new book right here. It's called Shooting News Weekly Presents Guns of the Cold War by a guy named Paul Markle. Yes, indeed. Now, this book is actually currently available as a pre-order Kindle. And you're like, I don't want a Kindle. And every time, if we do a paperback, people are like, when are you going to release a Kindle, man? And I do a Kindle, and people are like, well, when are you going to release the paperback? So the Kindle is available for pre-order right now. You can go to Amazon.com, look up Paul Markle, me. If you can't spell Paul Markle, I don't know what to do with you. Markel, look that up. And you can pre-order it right now. The physical book will not look exactly like this. This is a proof copy because I am the author. Therefore, I get proof copies. Oh, look at all those photos. Look at all those cool photos. Why did I do a book called Guns of the Cold War? Well, I was in the Cold War. Yes, I know. A lot of you guys out there, you people under 40 are like, wasn't that a long time ago? Wasn't that like in the Vietnam and stuff like that? Yeah, Vietnam was Cold War, and lots of stuff were Cold War. But I was there during the Cold War. I became a United States Marine when President Reagan was the president of the United States. And historically, it was a very significant era in human history, in world history. Because what had just happened? Well, we had World War II. And pretty much all of the developed nations in the world were involved in World War II in some form or fashion. And then it ended. And there were a lot of lessons that were learned by both the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact, and then the United States and the West and NATO. So NATO, which was the United States, was a member of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Back before every member of NATO became a socialist country, back when we used to actually have NATO members who weren't socialists. I know, it's like crazy, right? So isn't that kind of strange? So the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, that's what USSR stands for, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. So the USSR falls apart, right, and gets broken up, and the Warsaw Pact breaks up, and then NATO, the member states of NATO, become a bunch of socialists. Strange, right? But let's talk about hardware. So in World War II, most of your guns, now I know there are some exceptions, but most of your firearms were what? Steel and hardwood, right? Your Garand, your Enfield, your Mausers, your Tommy guns, your 1911s, they were all steel and hardwood, and they were heavy, and steel rusts, wood. Well, I know you guys like, oh, I love my wood stock. Yeah, wood stocks are okay, but the fact is they're subject to elements. They can swell, they can crack, and so on and so forth. And hardwood is heavy. So during the Cold War, every country that was a participant started looking at their armory, at their arms, thinking, how can we improve our small arms? Our rifles, our pistols, et cetera, our light machine guns, all of that. How can we make those better? What can we do better? And the guns from World War II, some of them carried over. For instance, the 1911 carried over. The Browning High Power carried over. Some of the guns carried over from World War II and were used almost through the entire Cold War era. Some of them didn't. Some of them went away. Some of them were adopted in the 60s, some in the 70s, some in the 80s. You're like, the 80s? Was the Cold War in the 80s? Yep, the Cold War was still going on in the 1980s. It didn't end. Most people officially believe that the Cold War was over. I don't know if anybody's commenting because I'm not seeing any comments, but most people, historians, say that when in November of 1989, when the Berlin Wall officially fell, and they started the reunification of Germany, that was it. It was pretty much the beginning of the end of the Soviet Union, the breakup of the Warsaw Pact, and so on and so forth. And by the way, I was there. I wasn't in Berlin. I was actually in the Mediterranean aboard the USS Forrestal when the Berlin Wall came down. We were there. We were on station in the Mediterranean Sea, off the coast of Italy, when the Berlin Wall came down. And President Bush, the first one, not second one, came on board our ship. We had a big hoo-ha, what do you call it? Not a meeting, a formation, a huge military formation. The president came. He presented the captain of my ship, of the Forrestal, with a plaque that had a piece of the Berlin Wall on it. And he gave a speech and told us how well we had done and how we were courageous and so on and so forth. And then they did a receiving line, and he walked through and we got to shake his hand. I got to shake the first President Bush's hand, like way back when. So, but yeah. And it occurred to me, I don't know, that there are a lot of people that are in the gun community right now that either weren't alive or were just little kids when the Cold War was going on. A lot of them weren't alive. I mean, think, how long ago has 1989 been? You do the math. If you're in your 20s or 30s, the Cold War is like ancient history to you. You're like, yeah. It's easy to believe, based on current history, that the AR-15, right? Where's my AR-15? That this has always been. Because let's face it, if you're under 40, ARs have always been in gun stores. If you're under 40, there hasn't been a time that you've gone to a gun shop and there wasn't lots and lots of AR-15s. This is actually an XM16 Echo 1, but you get the point. That wasn't always the case. And the fact of the matter is a lot of the World War II generals, the guys in the Department of Defense, the guys in the U.S. Army, the muckety mucks that went through World War II in Korea, were not all about the AR-15. You're like, well, there's an M16. It's like the AR-15 the AR-15 was there first. The AR was first, and then that became the M16. You guys know that, right? wasn't the opposite. So they're like, so how did that happen? Why did it happen? You're like, oh, I already know that story, all right? And then you have your other guns, your transitional guns. So you had your AR-15, and then you have guns like this one right here. A lot of people call this a CAR-15, but it's actually not a CAR-15. It's an XM177 Echo 2. One of the first ones, one of the first Colt AR-15s to have a retractable stock. Now, the retractable stock on the XM177 was either closed or open. It was 2-position. That's it. It wasn't like it is today. It wasn't 4-position or 5 or 6 or whatever. I saw the other day that somebody had a 6-position M4 stock, and I'm like, holy crap! How many positions do you need, man? So this kind of moved us. So you had your original M16, and then you had these guns, which moved us into the CAR-15, which moved us into the Colts. There were lots of different Colts, like the 723. There's a 601, a 605, a 723. There's all kinds of Colts. This is what led us to the modern M4, right? Led us down the path until we actually got the modern M4. So what I thought I would do, I thought I would have some fun, and I would take the time to examine a lot of these guns of the Cold War, both NATO guns and Warsaw Pact Soviet Union guns, and consider how the evolution from the end of World War II all the way up to basically 1990 or so, what happened during that time frame. Now, obviously, there was hundreds of firearms available in the world during that time. And I wasn't going to write a dictionary or an encyclopedia. So I picked out about 25 or so different firearms that had significant stories and significant history. And a lot of them were instrumental in deciding what we have today. A lot of the Cold War guns were modified and improved, and they became what we have today. So, if you haven't been paying attention, that's what's going on. This book the paperback, like I said, it won't look exactly like this, but the paperback will be available Thanksgiving weekend. We're planning on it being live on the 28th of November. It might go live the 27th at midnight or something like that, but it'll be Thanksgiving weekend. The paperback will go live. Like I said, the Kindle version is available for pre-order right now. If that's something that you would like to do, you can do that. We would love for you to do that. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to catch you guys up to what I've been doing. I've been spending a lot of time working on that book and going over the edits, and putting the edits in and so on and so forth. And books, much like movies, as George Lucas said, are never completed. They're only abandoned. How's that sound? So do I have any questions? I see there are people there. I see you out there. I know you're there. I can hear you breathing. Beretta M9. Was this a gun of the Cold War? Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people are wrong when they say things like that. But the actual M9 Beretta, and they're like, that's a 92. It actually says M9 on the side, right there. The M9 Beretta. The P35. That's right. I had to pull the magazine out. Why did I have to pull the magazine out of the high power? Why did I have to pull the magazine out? Somebody knows. You're like, yeah, how come the magazine didn't drop free? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. P35, 9mm high power. A lot of people say this was the first 9mm 1911. P35 high power. That's right. What else? What else? Oh, well, this guy. M1911. That's the gun that won 2 world wars. But this was also the gun that we carried almost until the end of the Cold War. We actually carried this gun through most of the Cold War. Why do we do that? Why did the United States of America continue to carry a gun that we adopted in 1911 all the way through the 1980s. Why did we do that? It's a great question. That's a great question. When was this is obviously a custom gun. It's a custom gun. It has some Gucci stuff on it, but it's basically a Glock 17. Was the Glock 17 a gun of the Cold War? Yes or no? Because, well, if you go back in time, you're like, when did the Cold War end? And when was the Glock 17 invented and adopted? I think it was done during the Cold War, right? So I had a good time with the book, worked with some of my friends, took lots and lots. There's lots and lots of photos, So the book, Shooting News Illustrated, presents Guns of the Cold War by this guy, Paul G. Markle. So we even talk about a little bit of Cold War cold steel in here. Talk about some sharp things in this book. So, like I said, the paperback will be available for sale Thanksgiving weekend, which is next weekend already. The Kindle is available for pre-order right now on Amazon if you want to. There will be an audio book. You're like, but I want to see the pictures. I know you want to see the pictures. Of course you want to see the pictures. Can't see the pictures on an audio book, but we'll make the audio book available so you guys can get the audio book and listen to it and then look at the pictures. How's that sound? Oh, I was informed by a random internet person today that the 40 Smith & Wesson is not dead. I was informed that today, so that's good. That's good. If that random internet person can now convince the entire firearms industry to start making 40s again, that would be interesting. Before I let you guys go, so if you want to support Student of the Gun, support us. And in the comments, we'll put the link and stuff, but I'll just tell you, we have an affiliate program with Blackout Coffee. They actually are 2A supporters. We actually met with them at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Salt Lake City a couple of months ago. So you can go to studentofthegun.com/blackout, put that in, and it'll take you right where you need to go. To save 20% off your order. You're going to buy coffee. You're going to drink coffee. You might as well support us while you're doing it, right? You're like, yeah, that's true. And if you just find yourself at Blackout Coffee, you want to use a promo code so you can save 20% on your order. Use the promo code STUD, STUD T20. STUD T20.